Welcome to the 10th video in the series looking at the spread of the COVID-19 virus. As a bit of a change, in this video we'll start by looking at conspiracy theories. Where did COVID-19 come from? Then we can look at the wet markets, what exactly is a wet market, before finishing with a look at the big picture, what's happening around the world. Who believes that a UFO crashed in Roswell in 1947? Who believes the multiple conspiracy theories on the assassination of President John Kennedy in Dallas, or the Apollo moon landings? This next views will debunk the majority of conspiracy theories which are ever present in the media and social media on the COVID-19. As Trump would say, fake news. But then, he and his new intelligence branch, formerly known as Fox News, are responsible for the majority. Conspiracy theories have been about since Adam and Eve. Basically, a conspiracy is a covert plot planned or carried out by two or more people. Conspiracy events that a group has manipulated. These events can be local, international, focused on a single event, or covering multiple incidents, and entire countries, regions, and periods in history. Conspiracy theorists see themselves as having access to privileged special knowledge. The best conspiracy theories do not deviate from the known facts, but offer up an alternative explanation, often implicating some dark government force which wish to do harm to the groups or the nations. It's a presidential election year in the US. The COVID-19 virus has hit the US particularly bad. This simple explanation is down to poor preparedness, and that lands squarely at the feet of the current federal administration. Over the last week, the US president has increased his tax in an attempt to muddy the waters, divert attention from his inept performance. He has attacked the World Health Organization for their management. He's converted Fox News into the new branch of the US intelligence community. He's encouraged civil disobedience in democratic-controlled states. So, what is the truth? The Wuhan Institute of Virology was established in 1956. In 2015, with the assistance from French engineers and financial assistance from the US government, the first Level 4 biosecurity laboratory in China was built. The lab has strong links with the University of Texas. Following the SARS viral outbreak in 2002 to 2004, the lab began studying the horseshoe bat in southeast China. Bats are a known carrier of multiple potential zoonotic diseases, including the coronavirus. The team noted the presence of a village less than a kilometre away from the cave habitat of the bats, and warned of the risk of spillover into people and the emergence of a disease similar to SARS. The COVID-19 virus has been studied extensively across all the global institutes, laboratories, private and national, and all concur there is no evidence of bioengineering and that the virus originated in wildlife. Several prominent scientists signed an open letter published in the Lancet, in which they debunked the theory that the virus was man-made. They also concluded that conspiracy theories do nothing but create fear, rumours and prejudices or jeopardizes the global collaboration in the fight against COVID-19. So where did COVID-19 come from? The main suspect is a wet market in Wuhan. Wet markets terminology came into common use during the 1970s in Singapore to distinguish traditional markets from supermarkets. The wet refers to the constantly wet floors due to melting ice used to keep food from spoiling and the washing of meats and seafood. A wet market, also called public market, is a marketplace selling fresh meat, fish and other perishable goods. Not all wet markets sell live animals, but the term is commonly used to signify a live market in which animals are slaughtered after being purchased. Wet markets have been banned from holding wildlife in China since the SARS outbreak in 2002 to 2004, which was directly linked to animal husbandry practices. Very few wet markets hold or sell exotic animals. They are prevalent in urban China and are key to food security in urban societies. Wet markets are also prevalent in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, Mexico, Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand and Vietnam. Is there a fish market near you that you use? Is there a butcher present in that food market? These traditional markets are common in Asia and they play an important role in Asian food security. After this view is a short video, which may allow people to put things into perspective. It compares different pandemics that's happened through the course of history. You will note that the numbers are valid only until the 12th of April. The next several views give a breakdown on the current spread of COVID-19 virus across the regions of the world. But I want to remind everyone that no matter where you live in the world, no matter what your religious beliefs are, no matter how much you have in your bank account, the virus doesn't differentiate We are all in this together and we should support each other. At the end of the video are some great addresses to use if you need support, and I would encourage you to note them down. This view is provided by the World Health Organization. It presents COVID-19 cases reported by countries over a 7-day period. The darker the shade, the more positive cases they've had during that period. A number of countries jump out: United States, Brazil, Russia, Central Europe including the UK, Turkey and Iran. This view provides the data on China. There are 83,783 positive cases of COVID-19, an increase of 418 from last week. There are 4,636 deaths attributed to COVID-19. That's an increase of 1,287. Midweek, the Chinese provided revised numbers from Wuhan, which increased the numbers of fatalities. China is continually challenged with the perception that they have continually lied to the world in relation to COVID-19. I am pretty confident that they have not been transparent, but I am also equally confident that there are several other nations who are also being less than truthful. China has been sending out plane loads of urgently needed medical equipment around the world. It must niggle the authorities that the Chinese are sending back at inflated prices equipment China bought from October 2019 through to January 2020. This view provides the data on the Western Pacific region excluding China. There is 45,076 cases of COVID-19, an increase of 10,106 from last week. There has been 956 deaths attributed to COVID-19, an increase of 294. There has been a surge in cases in both Japan and Singapore. Japan and Singapore recently increased the restrictions in their countries. In Singapore, the surge in cases have been linked to the large number of foreign construction workers living in dormitories, which is ideal breeding grounds. Several countries in the region, in my opinion, have managed this outbreak miles better than others around the world. Worthy of praise are South Korea, New Zealand and Australia. The next few views discuss COVID-19 in Europe, which in particular has been hit quite hard. In Europe, they have just over 1 million, 1,086,889 cases of COVID-19, an increase of 247,632. There has been 97,201 deaths, an increase of 26,636. The majority of cases are found in the major economies of Europe: Italy, Spain, France, Germany, UK and Russia. With the exception of Germany, the rest have seen rampant virus course through their society. Italy and Spain are seeing a reduction in transmission. In all areas of UK, there is no sign of the curve being flattened. Several European countries, namely Denmark, Austria, Norway, Sweden, and Czechoslovakia, are considering opening up their economies and did so during this week. It will be interesting to see what impact that has in positive cases of COVID-19 and fatality rates. This view looks at Southeast Asia. There has been 25,291 cases of COVID-19, an increase of 11,130. There has been 1,134 deaths, which is an increase of 517 from last week. The main contributors to the numbers in this area is India. Everyone knows the living conditions in the majority of India households, which are not too dissimilar to those in Indonesia. One report from Indonesia, a village or town, right, the funeral director reported his normal weekly funerals were about 5 per week. He's now conducting 300 per week and can't meet the demand. The figures from both countries do not make sense. This view will focus on the Eastern Mediterranean region. There has been 120,683 cases of COVID-19, an increase of 28,457. There has been 5,784 deaths attributed to COVID-19, an increase of 1,013. The majority of cases are in Iran, and again, there are discrepancies between social media reports and those of the authorities in Tehran. This view reports on North and South America, excluding the United States. There has been 118,942 cases of COVID-19, which is an increase of 43,553 from last week. There has been 5,358 deaths attributed to COVID-19. That's an increase of 2,660 from last week. Brazil and Canada are the main contributors to the data, especially Brazil. The United States has 665,330 cases of COVID-19, which is an increase of 204,055 from last week. There has been 30,384 deaths attributed to COVID-19, an increase of 13,788 since last week. It's difficult to provide impartial reporting on the United States, where there's such a dichotomy of events. One version from the President, one version from state governors, one hell-bent on a secondary wave, one planning for a gradual relaxation of restrictions, one energising his base and tempting anarchy, another one protecting the people. In the African region, there are a total of 13,104 cases of COVID-19. That's an increase of 3,764. There has been 616 deaths attributed to COVID-19. That's an increase of 2001. The World Health Organization this week urged African countries to significantly increase testing. Suspicion is that there is widespread community transfer and underreporting of positive cases and fatalities, but these cannot be confirmed due to a lack of testing. These next two views report on the current status of the major economies of the world. All the major economies have been significantly impacted by this pandemic. How this infection count translates into a monetary value is unknown, but the numbers will be huge. The United States has almost a third of all COVID-19 cases in the world, whilst China, which is in the recovery phase, has 4% and is rapidly opening itself up for business. The majority of healthcare workers love their jobs. They thrive in an environment where, on a daily basis, they make a difference. The majority of healthcare workers are not well paid. They are highly qualified and multiple skilled. Nobody stays in medicine for the money unless you're in plastics or cosmetics. They need our support and understanding. They have parents, wives, husbands, children, and they understand that every day when they are treating a COVID patient, infection is a possibility. Everyone is different. We cope with the pressures of life in our own way. The impact on each of us during this pandemic will be different. Some people will be visibly stressed, others less so. Some people retreat whilst others turn to alcohol and drugs. Each of us will know someone doing it tough, whether through financial concerns, security of their job. We will know someone. There is a multitude of assistance available. Talk to your friends, colleagues and family. Help them. The strength is admitting you need help and accepting help. We all know that there's a wealth of misinformation available on the internet and in social media being spread around. Please, before you spread anything, even if it's well-intentioned, please check it out. Below are some useful sources of reliable information. Right. These are available from the Australian Government, Health Direct, the World Health Organisation, Johns Hopkins, Lifeline, the UK Government, or the Centre for Disease and Control in America. And finally, and I do this at the end of each of my videos, remember to socially check in with your family and friends and use any of the smart apps on your phone. Don't assume everything is fine because you haven't heard from your families and friends. Do welfare checks on work colleagues. That is good leadership. The elderly are not as skilled with modern technology than you. Conference calling can be set up. Do please be patient and innovative in your problem solving. Please think twice about booking a cruise. They are just floating incubators. Feel free to drop me a note via email, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Email address is there. And suggest any topics you want me to cover. Remember, follow the rules, follow the guidance. That group of people there, they stay at work for you, so you stay at home for them.